Dustin Poirier and Conor McGregor under the lights tomorrow, live on pay-per-view. One more sleep.
Why Conor McGregor is afraid of Dustin Poirier. Conor McGregor and Dustin Poirier will have a rematch 7 years in the making as they face off later this month at UFC 257. McGregor will fight in the UFC for the first time in a year, while Poirier will be returning to the octagon after a 6-month break. Would you like to know why Conor McGregor is afraid of Dustin Poirier? Keep watching this video to find out all the details. In today's video, we will be talking about why Conor McGregor should be afraid of Dustin Poirier ahead of their UFC 257 clash. But before we hop into the details, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and share this video with your friends. The score between these two men is 1-0 to McGregor heading into this rematch. The first bout was also quite an easy win for McGregor, who dusted Poirier off in the first round. But the world is very different from then. McGregor became a superstar and rarely fights now, while Poirier is a former interim champion now.
Real bad, but this is the fight business. I've been on the end of many defeats in my life, and I've rose back. So.
However, anyone expecting a Conor Blitz show like the one in 2014 may be in for a rude surprise. Poirier is not nearly the same fighter he was then, and this new Poirier should be scary. Conor may still be the better fighter, but the tools Poirier has now has made him a much more viable challenger than he was before. Last month, at UFC 242, UFC lightweight champion Khabib Nurmagomedov successfully defended his title by submitting interim champion Dustin Poirier in the third round via rear naked choke. After that loss, it has been unclear as to what should be next for Poirier, but the former interim champion has previously hinted at fighting former two-division UFC champion Conor McGregor. However, Conor wasn't interested in fighting and showed little to no interest at all. In a recent interview with ESPN, the former interim champion revealed that the fight was never offered by the UFC, but it was him who was actively pushing for the rematch.
I do with the guillotine, and man, I submit people all the time, put people unconscious,
I don't think the guy is scared to fight anybody. I don't know if he's dodging me necessarily, but he might be trying to get the best matchup for himself, possibly. It's tough to say. The fight was never on the table. We were never offered the fight. I was just pushing for it, still hoping to get it, Poirier said. 5 years ago, they both fought at featherweight division. Conor went on to become the featherweight and lightweight champion. Ever since that loss, Dustin has amassed a record of 9-2-1 and become the interim lightweight champion. Both fighters are currently in the same weight class and have suffered loss to Khabib Nurmagomedov in their last fight. The reason why Conor McGregor needs to be wary of Poirier is simply experience. Poirier has fought 12 times since and has only lost twice. One of those losses came to Khabib Nurmagomedov, the same man that gave Conor his last loss. Dustin is far better at moving on his feet now, something he proved against Max Holloway in their interim title fight in 2019 and against Hooker in 2020. He is also much better at pacing himself through a fight now, seeing 5-round decisions in his last 2 wins. He always had the grappling advantage over Conor anyway, especially now. The closest Khabib came to losing his belt was when Poirier had him in a guillotine choke. Conor did not have the same success when he faced Khabib, so just that comparison would portray Dustin as the better fighter. With the wealth of experience, improvements to make his stand-up more than competent, and a better gas tank than Conor, Poirier has a lot of tools at his disposal. However, he will have to be careful of Conor blasting him out of his southpaw stance. Conor is a fast starter, so if he can have some early success, we may see Poirier reeling early. Conor is the favorite, and maybe he should be. However, Dustin Poirier is no slouch, and Conor should be afraid of this fight going sideways for him.
Kicks. You know what I mean? I got up off Dustin. I got up off the ground against Dustin. I turned Dustin.
UFC lightweight contender Tony Ferguson said that he saw fear in Conor McGregor's eyes when the two fighters crossed paths at the UFC 229 pre-fight weigh-in. Ferguson and McGregor have circled each other for some time, but have yet to actually fight in the octagon. A win for McGregor against Khabib Nurmagomedov at UFC 229 would have positioned Ferguson for a title fight against the doubleliner, given his win over Anthony Pettis on the card's co-main event. Ferguson said that McGregor doesn't want anything to do with him, and that the UFC will make sure that the two don't meet inside the cage. Ferguson and Nurmagomedov proposed fight has fell through on 4 separate occasions, but the former interim champion insists that he is a champion at lightweight and that he deserves to fight the undefeated Russian. What happens if Conor McGregor loses to Dustin Poirier? UFC President Dana White affirmed that nothing would change. in an eventual Conor McGregor loss to Dustin Poirier in the rematch at UFC 257 on January 23rd. Conor McGregor is UFC's biggest star and best pay-per-view seller. The promotion expects him to succeed so he can promote more of his fights. But White is not worried in case Conor McGregor fails to produce another win in his next fight. In an interview with TMZ Sports, White spoke about the UFC lightweight division's exciting landscape and how Poirier beating Conor McGregor would affect the promotion's plans for a possible rematch with Khabib Nurmagomedov in the future. People lose, man. It happens. It's part of the sport, White said. Nothing happens. I mean, if he loses, he goes back to the drawing board and comes back and fights another day. When asked whether an eventual defeat would reduce Conor McGregor's chances of getting a sought after rematch with Khabib, White explained how the UFC lightweight division is full of hot prospects with a strong claim for the title. I'm sure Poirier would like a rematch with Khabib too, so that whole division right now, think about it. Charles Oliveira just came off an incredible win over Tony Ferguson. You got Poirier McGregor fighting on Saturday, and the co-main event is number 6 ranked Dan Hooker versus Michael Chandler, who is making his debut in the UFC. This guy has been fighting everywhere outside of the UFC and is one of the all-time greats in the division. He wants to prove himself now, here in the UFC, explained White. So any one of these guys could end up fighting Khabib. After a meeting with White, Khabib finally made his decision regarding his UFC retirement. The unbeaten lightweight champion said that he would be looking for something fantastic to happen that would impress and convince him to return to action. Conor McGregor promised to put on a clinic and finish Dustin Poirier early. The Irishman has already predicted a 60-second knockout this time around, having won the first fight inside 2 minutes. But he challenged Poirier to withstand the onslaught and see who comes on stronger later in the fight. McGregor told BT Sport that he is going to put on a flawless performance, an absolute clinic, and that he has never been more confident in my endurance than he is now. He further said that Dustin and his teammate take a bit of disrespect from him, saying that he is going to take him out in 60 seconds. It works both ways. If you can last through the drama I'm about to bring you, we will see what you're about and who has endurance. I'm excited all across the board. I'm confident. All my skill are on fire at the minute. The winner on Fight Island is primed for a lightweight title shot next, and the chance to convince Khabib Nurmagomedov out of retirement. Nurmagomedov, who beat McGregor in 2018, still holds the belt, despite hanging up the gloves in October. UFC President Dana White confirmed unbeaten Khabib will come back for one final fight should a lightweight contender impress him enough to do so. Nurmagomedov retired one fight after the loss of his influential father and mentor, Abdulmanap, who died in July. But McGregor reckons his great rival will decide against making a return and insisted the Russian is avoiding a rematch. He said, "It sounded like a no. It seemed like a no to me, which is what it is. He doesn't want to get in there with me, that's for damn sure. You can see it all over him. It is what it is. I like the landscape at the minute. I'm not really focused on him, although I want that rematch, of course. There are plenty of great fights." If you liked this video, then make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more interesting videos in the future. Also, hit the bell icon to stay up to date and be the first one to watch our latest videos.